You're very welcome back to Ireland Day, and it's time to check in on Derek and how he's getting on this morning at the Little Museum of Dublin.
Yes, he's taking a trip down memory lane through Dublin's rich history and culture.
So how are you getting on, Derek?
Yeah, Tommy, we're in. Hello, good morning, guys. Do you remember these?
Oh, yeah.
There is a blast from the past, isn't it? Absolutely incredible. Welcome down here to the Little Museum of Dublin. We're having the most incredible morning exploring all the little corners of this beautiful place. And Darrell is with us. Good morning to you, Darrell. And what a revamp you've had.
Indeed, yeah. It's looking great. So we just reopened last summer after 4.3 million facelift, which enabled us to basically open up the museum with provision of lifts to our public galleries. So it was a great win for the people of Ireland.
Now tell us, Darrell, a little bit about the museum itself.
Yeah, so the Little Museum of Dublin is the People's Museum of Dublin. It was founded in 2011. We're actually celebrating our 15th birthday this year, which is great news.
Happy birthday.
Thank you very much. I'll be expecting our present in the post. Derek, thanks very much.
I know we were downstairs earlier on, and we're going to kick off, in fact, with that beautiful doll's house. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so Tara's Palace, it's a great testament to the craftsmanship and model making community here in Ireland. So it took over 20 years to create and furnish, and it's modelled on the great Georgian mansions, Castletown House, Carton House and Leinster House, over 20 rooms, and some of those beautiful little pieces of furniture are actually more expensive in those miniatures than they are in their real life versions.
I mean, with shots on air at the moment, I mean, the attention to detail is incredible, right?
It's extraordinary. I mean, there's even a little bottle of champagne with champagne in it. There's tiny Waterford crystal glasses. Even the books in the library can be read with a magnifying glass. So it's extraordinary, really.
Now, you've so many artefacts here, and I mean, they date back to, a couple of 100 years old. I mean, you're even talking about the old statue that was in the middle of O'Connell Street.
Oh yes, yeah, we have a statue downstairs. King Billy's leg, William of Orange, William III, was blown up in 1928 just outside Trinity College there in College Green, and his leg was salvaged from the rubble, and we have that on display here thanks to the military archives.
Yeah, and of course all donated by the people of Dublin.
Donated by the people of Dublin, not just Dublin, people from Ireland and the Irish diaspora around the world. So it's a great testament to the generosity of the Irish people.
All right, we'll come back to you in a moment's time because we're going to pop over here to Louise East. Good morning to you, Louise.
Good morning, Derek.
Yeah, great to be here with you. Louise, you have a beautiful flower in your hands on Dublin. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, it's published today. It's out. It's the Little Museum of Dublin. Commissioned myself. I'm a writer. And they commissioned a wonderful photographer, Deanne Fitzmaurice, won a Pulitzer. Now, she has Irish background, but she's American, and she's taken some wonderful photographs for it.
Now, you have taken your time writing this book, and I had a flick through it earlier on. I mean, it's an incredible archive of some beautiful photos from Dublin.
It is. They're really wonderful photos. She's managed to capture that special quality of Dublin that we all love. And then simultaneously, I was also coming back and walking around. Now, I live in Berlin, but I have lived in this city for 20 years and I loved it, but I hadn't been here for a while. So I was walking around thinking, what's changed? What is it that makes it such a great city? Is it a great city? That was another question.
I mean, do you think Dublin has lost its authenticity over the years?
Well, I wondered that when I first came. It's such a shiny, confident city now. When I was here growing up, it was a dirty city, but it was very charismatic, and I wondered had it lost its charm. But you know, it hasn't. It's still very unusual. You know?
And that book is out today on Dublin.
That book is out today. It really is beautiful, if I say so myself.
A work of art.
It is a work of art.
Right. Louise East, Gurramila. Now, we're going to walk and talk because we're going to pop in here to this second room, and Darrell is back with us. And Darrell, you have got some incredible pieces you want to show the viewers at home. And first up, in fact, we're going to start off with the Theatre Royal. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so there were 5 Theatre Royals, believe it or not, in Dublin over the centuries. This was the 5th and final one, the Theatre Royal. It's a great model of it. It was down in Hawkins Street, opened in 1935, and it closed on the 30th of June 1962.
I mean, it's such a pity we've lost something like this in the city, isn't it?
Well, it was knocked down for progress, Tommy, but it was such a beautiful example of incredible Art Deco architecture. But we're delighted to be able to celebrate its legacy here in the museum.
Now, moving on next to a gold medalist. We're heading back to 1956 to Melbourne. Who have we got here?
So that is the great Ronnie Delaney. Ronnie himself gave us those blazer badges you'll see there from Bern 54. But also, more importantly, the Olympics in Melbourne in 1956 when he won the gold for Ireland in the 1500 metres.
And
so
it's great to have those badges as well. It's fantastic. Right beside Ronnie, we have another Ronnie. Tell us about this one?
The two Ronnies, yeah. Just beside Ronnie Delaney there is the great Ronnie Drew, one of the founding members of legendary Dublin folk band, the Dubliners. That's a great piece. It's unusual. It's his passport, but when he was trying to renew his passport, he sent in two photographs. One of himself clean shaven and one of himself with a beard. And if you look closely in the section that it says photograph of wife, it's actually Ronnie with a beard.
Now, that's an incredible story. Right over here then, sitting on top of the mantelpiece, one of my favourites, Bosco.
Bosco, the immortal child. There he is. We're very lucky Lambert's Puppet Theatre Company donated that to us, along with a great example of Wanderley wagons. So very nostalgic for anyone who comes in here.
Is this the first Bosco?
It's
the only Bosco?
It's not the first Bosco, but it is an original Bosco puppet. There were a few of them.
Which is incredible. Before we wrap up, we've got one more item here. Tell us about this.
Yeah, this is incredible. This is the lectern. It's actually a music stand. That is the music stand from which JFK gave his historic speech to the joint houses of the Oireachtas
You're
when he was in
joking me.
Dáil Éireann. Yeah, in a very Irish way, they realised that there wasn't a lectern or anywhere for JFK to give his speech from. So John Brennock, who was the assistant director of the Army School of Music, gave this to the Oireachtas to be able to put that beside the Ceann Comhairle, and JFK actually stood at this and delivered that speech.
Absolutely incredible. It's littlemuseum.ie for more information online. Well worth exploring if you're in the neck of the woods. And Tommy, look, this is an old phone book dating back to the 1950s. We spotted some bows here. Do we know a Paul bow or a Morris bow?
Paul
There we
Bowes,
go.
my dad.
They're your relatives.
There you have it.
There you go.
Yeah,
We have his
very good.
number. He
Right.
still has it.
I'd love to know what number it is, yeah. Very good, Derek. We'll just catch up on that later on.
Morning, Paul. Now coming up, the commitment star Robert Arkins. He's going to be chatting to us.
Plus, we're embracing pastels for spring and showing you how to style them.
And simple, no fuss skincare tips for men.
See you after this.
Like that one.